I'm Father Jonathan Stepp. I'm the rector, that is the priest who serves as a pastor at All Saints Episcopal Church in Franklin, North Carolina. The Episcopal Church is historically the Church of England in the United States. We often think of ourselves, and others describe us, as a middle ground between sort of the Protestantism of the Methodist and Presbyterian and Baptist churches and the Catholicism of the Roman Catholic Church. So I wear a collar and I'm called Father, like a Catholic priest, and yet we don't practice all the same beliefs or liturgies that the Catholic Church practices. For example, in the Catholic Church, confession to a priest is required. In the Episcopal Church, confession to a priest is optional. I think what I like best about being a priest is helping people to understand their own spirituality, to find that spiritual part of themselves, that connection with God, and what works for them in terms of their understanding of the sacred texts like the Bible, the history and tradition of Christianity, and especially of the Episcopal stream of Christianity. I also very much like what we call the sacraments. That is communion, the bread and wine that we eat together at our worship services every Sunday, baptizing people, performing weddings, performing funerals. These are sacraments, these holy acts that connect us to our spirituality and connect us to God. The job has become quite a challenge in the age of pandemic, in the time of quarantine. It's become a very different sort of job in many ways. Obviously, I'm disconnected from face-to-face relationship with people, and that makes it very difficult and challenging. We have created worship videos where I preach, we have music, we have the prayers that we would normally say. It's all put into a video package on a weekly basis so that people can continue to have that connection for their spirituality, the weekly worship.
Am I going yet?
Yeah, you're going.
Okay. Working with Dad on church videos. Well, you see. Well, actually, no, he does do quite a bit of the work. I was about to say I do all of it, but he does. When it started, I did a lot of the work. But now we've worked out a way to where I spend 2 hours on it, he spends half an evening on it. So it kind of works out. Alright, so making these videos, we got some pretty high quality equipment. Basically, we've got our laptop, which records Audacity. That does stuff. And then we've got our microphone, our high quality Fifine microphone on Amazon. You can buy for 20 bucks. Arguably better than a Blue Yeti. Maybe not quality-wise, but better for the price and whatever, not important. Anyway, basically the mic, it comes it's got a stand, and the main mic part is kind of cool. It has to be facing a certain direction. And we've got this little I think it's called a buff. I'm not sure. Maybe a buffer or a boom thing. I don't know. Anyway, you put it on the mic, and it blocks out a lot of weird noises, and you can blow into it. And then it kind of stops all the wind noises and stuff. It's good for outside. But yeah, for most of our shots, we usually have the laptop out of frame so we can have Audacity running, and then our mic might be in frame or whatever. However we want to do the shot, and then that'll pick up the audio. And then we've got Emily. She's holding the camera always. You can see she's got still hands. Some people say I have shaky hands, but I mean If you're, I mean, like, look at this. Like, that's not bad. That's okay. Like, that's fine.
What we find about life in general, and what we find about the spiritual life, is that it is possible to thrive under many different circumstances and conditions. We don't always have to be doing things the way we've done them before. We can do things in new ways. We can thrive in new circumstances if we have the flexibility, the adaptability to look at other aspects of our tradition, other ways of being, other things that we can focus on and emphasize that we weren't able to focus on and emphasize before. There are things I wish people knew about priests that they don't seem to know. Now, I won't say this is true so much of Christians who are active in church on a regular basis, but people who don't hang around church very much, they often think that they have to change their behavior somehow around priests, as though we're not just normal human beings doing normal human being stuff. This is directly related to priesthood, but once when I was a kid, I was like 8 or 9 years old, my dad's car broke down, and the tow truck driver was towing us to his shop, and we had to ride in the cab of the tow truck. And the tow truck driver was telling my dad various stories along this long drive, and it seemed like every story involved him cursing like a sailor. And this guy would just like let out a stream of profanity for about 2 or 3 minutes. But he would pause every 2 or 3 minutes and turn to my dad and say, "Pardon my language," in front of the kids. And then he'd just go right back to it. And sometimes being a priest sometimes feels like being the kid in the cab of that truck. People are their normal selves, and then suddenly they pause and feel they have to apologize to me for being themselves.
So, to end my little interview segment, I will give you my Epic Lewis top 5 tips for surviving quarantine. Okay, so your top 5 tips are, okay, not exercise, you don't have to exercise, no need to start over. But top 5 tips. Watch your calories. I started calorie counting recently, and I was like, the other day, I ate like 1,000 calories at lunch alone. And I'm supposed to eat like 2,000 in a day, alright? So the second tip is to make sure you have make sure you're doing something productive in your day. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. Like, do a puzzle, I don't care. My third tip is don't cut your hair. Because, like me, look, my beard, I'm 16. And I look like I just came out of like an alleyway in New York, bro. Like, I'm here to sell you pizza out of my trench coat. But then it'll be funny. Trust me. Is he in the shot?
Yeah, he's in the shot. You're fine.
You're fine. Leave. So my fourth idea. So fourth tip, second to last, is make sure you do something fun. Like, and if you're locked in with other people, do something with them. They're probably like, oh, nobody wants to do anything with me. Because especially if they're on like their phones all the time, they're gonna see all these other people being like, haha, quarantine mood. And then they're gonna see all this stupid stuff. They're like, they need somebody to hang out with. And then my fifth tip, possibly the most important one, is if all that other stuff fails, you have absolutely nothing to do, or you have a bunch of stuff to do but you don't want to do any of it, or you just feel like it, make sure you watch my YouTube channel, youtube.com/peasantmaster. Alright, that's pretty much the most important tip that I can give out of all 4 of them. Yeah, so in general, the church is doing good.